Here we are. You are watching this video because of that handy dandy little title about habits. Now, either you have some and they're good or they're bad, or you're working on them and you want to get better at habits. So, Nicole and I are here to help you out with that. Hopefully, you like this short little format. Or it's going to be super fast, 1-2 punch, get you in, get you out, and make sure you hit like and subscribe wherever you are watching this from. We want to keep bringing you more powerful information, specifically for what we've learned in the past and some things that are on our bookshelves. And as you can see, Nicole's bookshelf is much fuller than mine, right behind her. No, so Nicole, our topic today, habits.
Habits.
It's a huge
habit.
Yeah, right? Like ribbit. Okay.
Yeah.
You've probably come across a lot of books and quotes. Let's start there. What'd you find?
Okay. So books, probably my top three favorite books are, there's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And when I was in college, we went around to high schools and taught that. So way back in 1995, 96. And so that's obviously a big one. And I know a lot of people who use it for book studies, all that kind of stuff. My second, and probably, yeah, I can't say most favorite because the third one is my most favorite. The second one would be Atomic Habits.
Oh,
Habits.
Yeah. 1000%.
Yeah. Must read. And then my number one favorite books for creating habits is Oola, Finding Balance in an Unbalanced World. There is no better system, the selfless plug-in, but there is no better system in the world to create habits than what we have created with the Oola lifestyle.
Yeah, and we're gonna talk about that in a little bit, just like how I've used it to create consistency in habits. And Nicole, maybe that's your story too, but my book is The Power of One by Ed Mylett. Habits are hard.
I just listened to a podcast with him and Shetty about the power of one more. And I've always had this in my head, that power of one more. I've always had this, just one more. We just need to do one more time. I can do anything one more time. But yeah, if just go to Jay Shetty's On Purpose podcast and find the interview with him and Ed, and it's all gold, all good.
Yeah, right on. So check the description. If you're watching this on YouTube, I'll definitely put that in the description down below.
Yeah.
But this is like, and just talking straight. Well, he was talking straight to me, so I don't know if he works straight for you, but I was just like,
did he tell you a whole bunch of stories about his father?
Like, of course.
Yeah. So good.
And so that was really helpful for me. So one of my habits is listening to a little bit of this book somewhere in my day. So I'm just trying to feed myself. Looks like you have a quote.
I do. Okay, yeah, the quotes. So my favorite quote is always, it's credited to Abe Lincoln, and I've heard it 100 different ways, but give me 6 hours to chop down a tree, and I'll spend the first 4 sharpening the axe. And there's some conflicts in how many hours for each, but you get the point that if you're not sharpening your habits, if you're not creating habits, that's sharpening the axe. It takes longer to get things done. It's harder to get things done. And so that's my favorite one. And then I came across this one by Bruce Lee that I thought was pretty awesome too.
Yeah.
I fear not the man who has practiced 10,000 kicks once, but I fear the man who has practiced one kick 10,000 times. And that made me think of Michael Jordan and Tiger Woods and all those guys who practice their shots, his clothes and all that kind of stuff. Same concept. And that's habits, whether it's a sport or a business or health or whatever it might be, same concept.
Right. One kick 10,000 times. That, that's not what I prepared, but that reminded me of the athletic coach. And this is really bad, but I'm pretty sure it was an LSU football team. And on their locker room, it says, we practice until we can't get it wrong. Right. So that's creating that habit. And I think what we're talking about is a lot about that skill. But a habit is, the thing that is in your subconsciously, you're just going to do it. Right. So if, let's say I just spilled some coffee grounds. And what did I do? I just pushed it to the side. Bad habit. Like habit should be get the things that you need to clean this up in 5 seconds.
Yep.
So I think that I'm seeing that habit and so trying to start that off. I brought some quotes too, and they're a little bit more like they make you think, I think. But one can conquer a bad habit easier today than tomorrow
For
because
sure. Today's always the best.
right? Like clean up
Always
the
the best.
contents. What are you doing? And then habits are either the best servants or the worst of masters. I was like,
yeah,
rough, right? So we can have good habits, but we can also have the bad habits. Yeah, and so it just goes into talk about like the worst boss anyone could have is a bad habit. And so how do you, and you kind of talked about this before, but once you figure out what the habit is that, and we're not talking about cutting out habits, we're talking about adding habits because I think you really do have to replace that bad habit with something that you need to do. And so bad habit, dropping coffee grounds, not cleaning it up.
I have some people call it bundling, some people call it stacking. But what I try to do is when I'm trying to add a new habit, is couple it with something else, something I don't have yet, but I want to have with the other. So, example, our dishwasher was out of service for a long time. And so I had to wash dishes by hand, and I absolutely hate it. So I would listen to an audiobook because I absolutely love learning. So I listened to an audiobook while I washed the dishes. And now it's just become a habit that whenever I'm cleaning and I want to clean a little more because I want to listen to that audiobook. That audiobook is my treat for cleaning. And so that's the only time I listen to audiobooks is when I'm cleaning. Another one is we want to stop eating out so much, but we also want to go to Mexico for our friend's wedding next year. So every time we don't eat out, we put that money in the pot to go to Mexico. So that's a couple different ways on working on creating different habits.
Yeah, stacking it. And then did you find yourself like writing down the habits that you want?
I have not. I have not done that.
Yeah. I did that so that I could create a routine, just so that it would be in my mind. And I didn't write it down like every day what I was going to do, just like, boop, 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 boop. Don't we wish that everyone had that habit out there that they didn't run the yellow lights at 90 miles an hour?
I think I did one earlier.
Like that's a habit, right?
Yep, for sure. Yellow means go faster. I guess, the habits that I do have written down are for my 23 strong. And so every day I have 9 different things that I have to do every day, and then one that's fed into me. And so, and most of those were already habits: meditating, journaling, gratitude, breathing, all that kind of stuff. But I do have a list, I guess you could say, of habits.
Okay. Yeah. So, and then where do you keep that list?
It's on my phone. So in my photos, I can find it. You keep talking and I'll find it.
Okay,
here.
yeah. So one of the things that I was working on was my consistency because I am a naturally just my day is flexible, everything ebbs and flows. Oops, we can't really see that.
Green screen's gonna
okay, green screen's gonna screw that up. Put it, maybe hold it right in front of your face and then will that work? Yeah. Okay, well, okay, cool. So you keep them in your notes. I was looking for the consistency, like, okay, I have to do certain things. It's not that I didn't do them, I just wasn't doing it efficiently. If you know me, efficiency is like my thing. So I signed myself up for a thing called 23 Strong. And what that forced me to do is because I'm also a little gamer, it forced me to start the habit of looking at my day a little bit differently using the help of the Oola framework and the Oola app. And so I gained a habit and I proved to myself, which is ultimately what should that have to happen? I don't think so, but that was important to me. Like prove it to yourself that you can do it. Right. And so, yeah, that really helped me. But I think habits are normal. Am I saying that right? Like habits
Necessary?
habits are
Or
necessary. Yeah.
yeah.
And for those of us in, in the business realm and we're working in marketing, that's your brand. Your habits are your brand. And so, what are you expecting to do? Is your habit to get in the car and immediately put on your seatbelt? Is the habit get in the car and light up a cigarette, right? And so, um, what are your habits? So take a quick look at those for sure.
What do you think are two key ingredients for creating a new habit? What do you think is most important?
Oh, most important for creating a habit. I think it has to lead to something that you want.
For sure. Your why and your want have to be, especially if it's something hard. That has to be solid for sure. So there's motivation, and that's what your why and your want would be motivation. And that's one of them. But it's not the only one, because did you know, I'm going to throw this at you, 100 million people enroll in online classes every year?
Okay.
100 million. Okay. How many of them graduate? What percent graduate?
Oh no. I would hope 95%.
10% graduate, 90 drop out because they're riding the motivation wave alone. And so there has to be more to that. And the other one is it has to be easy. And by easy, it has to be affordable. So
Okay.
Easy is judged by time, money, and ability. Those three things. So maybe they were all motivated to go to school, but there's no way they could afford it. So that takes out that easy factor. Or maybe they didn't have the time. They have 5 jobs and 3 kids and whatever else. Or maybe they just didn't have the ability. It was harder than they thought. And so motivation and ease, which includes time.
And so if I've got the motivation part figured out, then I need to go make sure that those other obstacles are like they aren't obstacles anymore, right?
Yep.
Otherwise, I'm likely not to create that habit and finish. Is that what I'm hearing you say?
Yeah, absolutely. The more prepared, the more you can set yourself up for success ahead of time, the easier it's going to be for you to create that habit.
Of course. Absolutely. I love that. So something that I did was I took a deep dive into what my habits were. And I found that I have daily habits, I have some weekly habits, and then I have some monthly habits. And I literally just kept a piece of paper on my desk right where I could see it. And every time I caught myself doing something, good or bad, it didn't matter. And then I totally had an inventory, and then I could see what was happening. And like you said before, like pairing up something that I didn't like, or the ease thing. That's the first time I've heard about that, but it totally makes sense. So get yourself a piece of paper, make a column daily, weekly, monthly, and start writing down those habits. And habits can be thoughts too.
Well, for sure. I just
all
morning spent the
morning.
morning working on habitual thoughts with my youngest son.
Habitual thoughts.
Yeah.
So it's just like retraining your subconscious, and obviously the affirmations are going to come into that, right?
Oh yeah, sent him 3.
Okay, here we go. Yep. And then habits can also be used to support your goals. So if your goal requires some of those daily tasks, turn that into a habit. And so ask yourself, what habits do I have that support my goals? And then maybe look on the other side. What habits do I have that don't support my goals? Get some help with that, because adding someone into your life to hold you accountable, right, is probably a good thing. Like if that's where in those 3 things, some accountability, start working on that right away. And then the habits that you need to develop, we kind of talked about that. Get those books, man. Atomic, right? Am I saying that right? Atomic Habits.
Yep.
Totally flipped my brain of what a habit is.
And then sign up for his email. There's like very few people that I read all their emails when I sign up for him. Sign up for his. And then he also has this challenge you can sign up. He just sends so much good stuff.
Yeah. Pro tip. Okay, awesome. So we know where Nicole's learning about habits. And then which ones, once you have that inventory, which ones maybe need to shift from the week to the day or the month to the week, or, going back the other way, Nicole talked about eating out. So does that switch from the week to the month? And then what's going to replace that other thing? And then,
and you talked about accountability, and that's huge. And one of the huge things for me on being successful is tracking. And so I have, for all of my goals, all my Oola goals and all the 7Fs, I have a tracker for all 21 goals.
Hey,
so
I'm going to share my tracker, and it's a little bit more unicorny than yours is. But sometimes it's just easier to use something that someone already found that works. So I'm going to link mine in the description as well.
Okay.
And Nicole, if you want to, I'll get that uploaded for you.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you've got any questions, comment on this video, and we'll definitely take a look and shoot you a message. And if you'd like to learn a little bit about that thing we talked about called Oola, there's probably a video on this channel that'll tell you more about that too. So thanks for joining us.
I want them to say what book we should read, what habits book we should read. I would like some recommendations. Can never stop learning. So if you have a habit book we should read, drop that in the comments too. And then, oops, there's one other thing and I can't remember. But yeah, I want to know what book we should read.
Awesome. So if you have a new book, because everyone, puts it in a different perspective, and I think that that's helpful too. So habits for all. Make them good. All right. Thanks for joining us. Watch the next video.